Manchester United fans, what do you think about Ronaldo's comments and Ten Hag? Is he right? Is he wrong? Irfan is a United fan. It's a very good morning to Irfan. Thank you very much for calling us this morning.
Irfan.
How are you, mate?
Oh, very well, thank you. Yourselves?
We're in top form, thanks. What do you think when you woke up this morning to Ronaldo's comments, mate?
Well, you know what? He's right. When Ronaldo talks, you got to listen. But I just want to comment on the whole mentality thing, right?
Yep.
When Sir Alex Ferguson was in charge of Manchester United, never at any point did he, the fans, the board members, the players, never did they use the words, we can't win. They were always, we will try to win.
Yeah.
You see the difference in mentality right from the outset. So Alex Ferguson was extremely positive, right? With Ten Hag, I mean, it just gives me the impression like he stands there on the sidelines. I mean, he's got an awkward face like thunder, a bit like a schoolyard bully. He's clueless. He doesn't really know what he's doing. I do agree with Gabby Agbonlahor. I think he's staying his own, he's overstayed his welcome, and we have to move him on for the.
Yeah, I think we've lost our fan there, but I definitely suggest that we heard what he said. But I was trying to ask him there, and I will ask him if he comes. I don't think he'll come back on, but a couple of cups, Gav, you cannot argue with it. You cannot argue with it, mate. Hold on, we've got another caller. Gav, the Spurs fan, has called in this morning. He wants to have his say. Gav, a very, very good morning. Thanks for calling.
Good morning,
mate.
Gav.
Hope you're on a good morning.
Morning, guys.
Morning. Great for you to call this morning. What's your opinions this morning, Gav, when you woke up and seen that?
Well, personally, I think Cristiano Ronaldo is ever so slightly deluded and probably needs to check up from the neck up. But what people seem to forget is that football is fluid. And if you can give us like a minute or so, go back 50 years, there was no team bigger in this country than Leeds. But they ended up spending 3 decades in the wilderness, which is where they are now when you look at the top flight. Arsenal had their invincible squad 20 years ago, but they ain't won a Premier League title since. Mm-hmm. And their unbeaten run, they took that from Brian Clough when he was at Nottingham Forest, because he had the longest unbeaten run prior to that. And at Nottingham Forest, they won back-to-back Champions Leagues. And they've spent a lot of time in the wilderness. And, even Spurs, 16 years since we lifted a bit of silverware. But when we won the FA Cup back in 91, we won it for a record 8th time. So football is fluid, and all clubs, I don't care who you are, you're going to have highs and you're going to have lows. Now, when they had Sir Alex Ferguson in, they had stability. Same as Arsenal when they had Wenger. You don't get managers for like 20 plus years, okay? And that is a huge, huge factor in, their ability to maintain their stance and keep going in the way that they were. But, since then, they're getting managers every year, every other year, whatever. And that does have an effect, because every manager that comes in, they want to make that club their own, so they'll get rid of a couple of players, they'll bring in a couple of players, and they'll do their system. Then another manager comes in and they'll do exactly the same thing. So right. You've not got that stability.
I take your point, Gav.
United to win a couple of bits of silverware over the last couple of years, I'd take that at Spurs all day long.
Yeah, I know that, Gav. I take your point and understand it, and I'll to back up your theory as well. You look at a club at Liverpool who were winning things, but effectively didn't win the title for 30 years, right? So there's another, string to your argument, if you like, string to your bow. But I think one of the things, Gav, that United fans aren't happy with is the negativity in his tone as much as anything.
Well, quite possibly, but it's like the job of the journalist is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. So, the first sign of cracks that you're going to get, they're going to go in for him. They'll do it to all Premier League managers, because they're out there and they're there for the taking. And it's like, some people like Big Angie's like, yeah, whatever, mate, go and shout at a tree or something. You ain't getting a rise out of me. But other people like Ten Hag and Louis van Gaal.
Gav, the amount of money that Manchester United has spent under Ten Hag, you really believe that finishing in 8th position is right?
Well, yes, listen, no, I mean, just because you go out and you buy a load of players, it doesn't necessarily mean
But
that
you get
those
judged
players
off
are
that,
gonna
though, as a
gel.
manager. You can't go out and spend all this money and be like, oh, it didn't work out. All right, next summer, let me go spend a bit more. It doesn't work like that.
Arsenal have spent £750 million in the last couple of seasons after
At least they're at the top, though, fighting toe-to-toe. They're not in a position, are they?
No, listen, Gav, great call. Really appreciate the call. It's given us something to think about.
I'm not sure.
Some good opinions here. Some good opinions. May not agree with everything they say, but I thought it was a good call. And there's something that's taken social media by storm in the last few days is the Barclays men trend. Never heard of it, right? It's taking the media by storm, and I've just found it, the Barclays men trend, whereby English football fans have been getting all nostalgic about a particular Premier League era. Can you yeah, I mean, you're more to the scene than I am.
What, social media? I've been sent some by the lads at talkSPORT, but I don't understand it. I don't get it.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.